boys and girls. Oh, I can't hear you. Good morning, boys and girls. Oh, wow. Are you excited to be here right now? Do you know, can you whisper to me, who are we meeting today? David Shannon. Who's read David Shannon's books? Really? How many times? Like 1,000,000 times? That's so great. Okay, we want to be, shh. Oh, I know. 100 times? Okay, we want to be a really good audience for Mr. Shannon, right? Okay, so when he's speaking, what are our mouths doing? We're quiet and we're listening with our ears and we're watching with our eyes and we're giving him our big smiles. Okay, all right, well, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Tessa here. Tessa here is in 2nd grade and she has a few words to say, so.
Have any of you wrote a book before? David Shannon has a lot of them. For an example, The Bad Case of Stripes and No David. Now, the one and only David Shannon.
Bzzz. 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 Buzz, 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 buzz. Buzz, 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 buzz. Buzz, 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 buzz. Buzz. Do you guys speak B? Oh. Well, what I was saying was thank you for inviting me here. I'm very happy to be here. Do you like my stinger? That was this part. And then I also thank Tess for the fantastic introduction. Thank you. Can we give her a big hand, please? Yay! All right. So you guys are still pretty little. Yeah, you are. Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact. So you guys still sort of have some time during your day to just sit and do nothing, don't you? No? You have lots of activities and stuff? Yeah. Well, here's the thing. As you guys get older, too, you're going to have more and more activities and more homework and, soccer and band practice and all that stuff. Now, hey, quiet down, you guys. So, I have to go to school tomorrow, too, so if I have to yell, I'm going to get all hoarse. And then the school tomorrow won't get to hear anything. So, anyway, you're going to get busier and busier and busier. And all those activities are good. But my advice is to take a little time to do nothing. Because it's good for your brain. And you know what? I come up with almost all of my ideas for books when I'm doing nothing. Isn't that cool? Because one of the things I do when I'm doing nothing is I play a little game called the Wouldn't It Be Weird game. And I just think of weird stuff. I say, it always starts with, wouldn't it be weird if I turned into my sister? Or wouldn't it be weird if my nose was in my armpit? Or, have you guys ever seen that book, A Bad Case of Stripes? Yeah? Okay. Well, I got the idea for that whole book from playing Wouldn't It Be Weird? I woke up one morning and I was just lying around doing nothing, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be weird if instead of chicken pox, you got different colored stripes? And that's where that book came from. So this story is all about taking the time to do nothing. And it's based on my daughter, Emma. She was so busy that when I finished this book, I wanted her to read it since it was about her, and I wanted to see what she thought about it. I said, Emma, will you read my new book? And you know what she said? Oh, sorry, Dad, I don't have time. So this is called Bizzy Mizz Lizzie. Where's the arrow? Oh, here we go. So here's Lizzie with her book bag. Do you guys have great big book bags yet? Yeah, you will. And you know what? Kids' book bags are getting so huge and heavy. Did you know that American children are actually getting shorter? Because their book bags are squishing their spines. Do you believe that? I'm not sure that's true, but it seems like it. Bizzy Mizz Lizzie was just about the busiest, buzziest bee anyone had ever seen. Like most little bees her age, Lizzie went to school. She always got straight B's on her report card. That's better than straight A's if you're in bee school. It goes like this. It goes F, D, C, A, B. By the way, I have to warn you, you're going to be really sick of bee jokes by the end of this book, okay? Lizzie did lots of things besides school, too. She took dance lessons, acting lessons, art lessons, and music lessons. So over here, I think she's acting in a Shakespeare play because she says, to be or not to be. And then over there on the right, there's a statue of her favorite musical composer. His name is Beethoven. And I think she's painting a picture of the Mona Lisa. See what I mean? Now, here's the cool thing about being a bee, is you have 4 arms. So she can play piano and violin at the same time. Yeah. She also played B-League baseball. And she was a member of the Junior Honey Scouts. So there she is selling cookies for the Junior Honey Scouts. Everyone asked, why so busy, Ms. Lizzie? Because someday I want to meet the Queen, Lizzie answered. And when she asks me if I'm the best bee I can be, I'll answer, yes, ma'am, I am. Of course, Lizzie had lots of friends. Happy Bee Day, Lizzie. Now, here's another thing that's great about having 4 arms. If you're like this guy up here, you can have 2 pieces of cake at the same time, too. Bizzy Mizz Lizzie's best friend was Lazy Miss Daisy. Daisy was just the opposite of Lizzie. She liked to go to the garden and lie down in a big flower. It smells wonderful, she told Lizzie. Do you want to come with me? I'm too busy for that, Lizzie always said. Lizzie's other friends were quite busy and buzzy, though. Some of them did some things with her. Others did other things with her. But Bizzy Mizz Lizzie did everything. The only bee that was maybe even busier than Lizzie was her mom. Do we have any busy moms out there? Driving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. One day, everyone in Hivetown was buzzing with some exciting news. There was going to be a big spelling contest. The busiest, buzziest little bees were going to compete, and the winner would get to meet the queen. Can you guys see Lizzie down here? There she is with her mom. The 3 lucky bees chosen for the contest were Newsy Susie, who knew pretty much everything about everything, Zack Pat on the Back, who never ever got in trouble, and Bizzy Mizz Lizzie. Lizzie was so thrilled she just about buzzed herself silly. "This is my big chance," she shouted. Lizzie studied so hard for the spelling contest that she barely got any sleep. "I'm worried about you," said her mom. "You need to rest." Daisy agreed. "Why don't you take the day off and come to the garden with me?" Lizzie was cranky, probably from all that studying. "I don't see how you could just lie around and do nothing," she said. "Well, I like doing nothing," Daisy replied. "It's nice to just think about things. And sometimes I read a book or I talk to other bees. Last time I met a very nice old lady who knows lots of stories. You should meet her." "I'm too busy," said Lizzie again. "Tomorrow is the big day." Daisy smiled. "Lizzie, you're the most amazing bee I know. I'm sure you'll win." "If I can stay awake," Lizzie joked. Ooh, there's the queen. Look at all that hair. Wow. The next day, the entire colony was at the spelling contest. Everyone buzzed as loud as they could when the queen arrived. Can you guys buzz real loud? Okay, perfect. That was good. Well, that's what it sounded like. Now, do you guys know how a spelling contest works? Well, for those that don't know, first of all, it's usually called a spelling bee, but I made so many bee jokes that this is my anti-bee joke. So I called it a spelling contest. And the way it works is each of the contestants are given words to spell. And as long as they spell them correctly, they get to keep playing. But if they spell one wrong, bzzz, and then they're out. So the last one left is the winner. So Newsy Susie, Zack Pat on the Back, and Lizzie battled through round after round. But then Susie forgot a Z in the word razzmatazz. And Zack was fooled by bamboozle. All Lizzie had to do was spell quizzical, and she would win. She closed her eyes to think, and then it happened. Bizzy Mizz Lizzie dozed off. Oh, I can't believe it. She was so close. She woke up shouting, Quizziccal. Her mom and Daisy were next to her bed. I have to get back to the contest, Lizzie cried. I have to meet the queen. That was 3 days ago, said her mom. Can you believe that? She's been sleeping for 3 days. That's how tired she was. The doctor says nothing but rest for you now. I am so sorry. I should have said that a long time ago. Well, said Lizzie, trying not to cry. At least now I can go to the garden with Daisy. Good idea, said Lizzie's mom. It's so beautiful, Lizzie gasped as they lay back in a flower. But she was still thinking about that contest. But maybe I should go home and study my spelling, though, for next year. Will she ever learn? Who thinks of spelling in the middle of a garden? Said a strange voice. Lizzie looked up and saw an old bee smiling at her. Daisy shouted, "That's my friend I told you about." Lizzie thought the old bee looked familiar. Then she realized, you're the queen. You are, mumbled Daisy. What happened to your big hair? The queen laughed. Oh, I wear my wig so they have something to put that silly crown on. But aren't you too busy to be here? Lizzie asked. I'm busy doing nothing, said the queen. It helps me be the best bee I can be. Lizzie knew exactly what the queen meant. If I wasn't so tired, I would have won the spelling contest, she sighed. Yep, said the queen, but then you probably wouldn't be here. And aren't you happy right now? Lizzie thought for a second. There she was in the beautiful garden with her best friend and the queen. Yes, ma'am, I am, she replied. And that's how Bizzy Mizz Lizzie learned to stop and smell the flowers, which, when you think about it, is exactly what bees are supposed to do. The end. Thank you. Okay, can I take my bee costume off now? Okay, good. It's a little warm. Oh, there's some kids out there. I love these things, though, don't you? Oh! Gotta get my mic put back on there. Okay. All right. Phew. So, Zach, pat on the back, never got in trouble, did he? But who does get in trouble? David does, doesn't he? You guys want to learn how to draw David? Yeah. All right. I happen to be just the guy to teach you. All right, so let's get right to it. When I draw David, I always start with his head because his head is huge. It's a gigantic head. What shape is it? A circle, right. But it is not a really good circle. It's certainly not a perfect circle. So when you're drawing David, don't trace around a plate or anything like that. You want it to be kind of lumpy and wobbledy, like that. And then let's make David smiling because he's usually having a pretty good time, even if everyone around him isn't. And then there's these teeth. You know, people always ask me, why are David's teeth all pointy? And you know what I think it is? I think it's because David doesn't brush or floss. And his teeth are starting to rot. When I was David's age, my best friend's name was Andrew Dipman. And Andrew Dipman never brushed, and he never flossed, and he would only eat 3 things: hamburgers, milkshakes, and candy. Lots and lots and lots and lots of candy. And his teeth turned all brown, and they started to rot and get all pointy. Yeah. But you know what? A couple of years ago, I was in a city called Seattle, and I was at a bookstore teaching the kids how to draw David, just like you. And it turns out that Andrew Dipman lives in Seattle now. And the next day, I got a phone call, and it said, "David Shannon?" And I said, "Yeah." "This is Andrew Dipman, and I hear you've been telling stories about my teeth." I said, "Yes, that's true. And they're not very nice stories either." Well, we ended up talking for about an hour and had lots of laughs and stuff, and it turns out that those were his baby teeth. And when he got his grown-up teeth, he brushed and flossed, and they're all nice and white and shiny now. So he said it was okay if I kept telling stories about his teeth. All right, so let's draw David's nose. What shape is David's nose? A triangle. But again, just like the circle, it's not a really perfect triangle at all, so don't use a ruler or anything like that. You don't want the lines to be straight. You want them to be kind of wobbledy and lumpity like this. Yeah? And you know why? That's because I've broken my nose 4 times. Yeah. You want to know how I broke it the last time? Well, the sliding glass door was closed. Yeah, I thought it was open. I ran right into it, just. Yeah, but there is always a good side to things, everything. And in this case, my nose used to be all crooked and curved from breaking it so many times. But the last time I broke it, it straightened it out. Nice, huh? So I'm going to watch where I'm going from now on. All right, so let's draw David's nostrils. Okay, so usually, not always, but usually, David's left nostril is just a little bit bigger than his right nostril. And that's because David's left-handed. Yeah. So his left nostril gets a little bit more of a workout. And his eyes are kind of weird too. He's got one eye up here, but the other eye's down here. And that's because my face is lopsided, and one of my eyes is higher than the other. Okay, so I'll show you, okay? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold my head straight so that my ears are level, and then I'm gonna tilt my head so that my eyes are level. And you'll be able to see the difference, okay? And I'm gonna come all the way around to this side, so be patient over here. Okay, and first I need to warm up a little. I don't know if you've ever pulled an eyeball, but Does not feel good. All right. Okay, you ready over here? Right here. My ears are level. And now my eyes are. See that? Ears. Eyes. Ready? Ears. Eyes. Yeah, you thought I was kidding you. Yeah. Okay, ready? Here, my ears are level. And now my eyes are level. Ears. Eyes. Ready? Ears. Eyes. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Yeah. One time I was at a school and I was showing them the eye thing, and this one kid in the back stood up and fell straight backwards and yelled, "You're freaking me out!" Yeah. You want to know something else that's freaky? It's getting worse. The eye thing. So like when I'm an old man, I'll probably wake up in the morning, get out of bed, rub my eyes. All right. Now, David's eyebrows are also a little bit different. He's got one eyebrow that goes like that. That's his naughty eyebrow. Yeah, because he's always thinking about doing something naughty, isn't he? Oh my, I see. There's a couple naughty eyebrows out there. Yes, indeed. Now, David's other eyebrow goes like this. And that's the eyebrow that says, "I couldn't help it. Nobody told me. I didn't mean to. Honest." Here, I'll show you. It was an accident. It's not my fault. Yeah. All right, so now we'll draw David's ears. Now, when you're drawing David's ears, remember this. David's ears don't have holes. And that's because David doesn't listen. Does anybody here have a problem with not listening? Yeah? Well, I had that problem. I did. And you know what? Here's an interesting thing. Here's something I've noticed is, you know, I've met just thousands of kids and gone to all sorts of schools and stuff. And I have noticed that almost every kid that has a problem with not listening also has a naughty eyebrow. And that's called a correlation. All right, so David's hair, David has, do you guys call that, he has a really, really short haircut. Do you guys call that a buzz cut? Is that what it is? All right, so when I was a kid, yeah, there's a good one right there. Do you call it a buzz cut? Do you call that a buzz cut? Yeah, okay. Well, when I was a kid, that kind of haircut was not as popular. Everybody wanted long hair back then. So we had a terrible name for it. We called it a pig shave. Yeah, isn't that awful? What a terrible name. Now, I've heard some new names for it though, lately, because now it's popular, it's cool, right? So I heard one kid call it a freshie. which I really like, because, you know, like when you run your hand through a buzz cut, it goes, freshy, freshy. So I like that one. And then I heard another kid called it a total, which I thought was really good too, because your hair gets totally cut, right? Oh, my dad gave me a total. Freshy. And then David's got a little cowlick right here. And see, I got a cowlick. Mine is right there. Let's see if who's got a good one out there. Oh, you've got a beauty. What's your name? No, not behind you. You. Luke? Luke, could you please stand up for a second? Luke has a beautiful cowlick. Could we please give Luke and his cowlick a hand? Thank you, Luke. Thank you very much. That's awesome. So, now Luke, I hate to tell you this, but the reason it's called a cowlick is because it looks like a cow came up to you and went, and your hair got stuck with cow spit. But here's the thing. A natural cowlick like Luke's, very handsome. Very handsome. In fact, lots of people put stuff in their hair to give them a cowlick, right? And Luke, I think I just got an idea. I bet you and I can make $1 million. What if we took cow spit and put it in bottles and sold it at the barber shop and the beauty salons and stuff? Good? No? Not a good idea? Well, it just goes to show you, not every idea is a good one. You know, there's some clunkers out there. But anyway, here is good advice for any situation. Have fun. And that is how you draw David. Thank you. All right, so we have a few minutes for some questions and answers. Does anybody have a really, really good question? Yes. So her question is, what was I going to say? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. You want to think about it? Okay. What's your question? What was the first kids' book I wrote? Well, there's two schools of thought about that. Because do you guys know about the story about No David that I made a book when I was a little kid? That's right, and it was only 8 pages long, and it had pictures. I drew pictures of me doing stuff I wasn't supposed to do, and the only words I knew how to spell were no and David. Yeah, so those are the only words in the whole book. Now you guys, you know, and my mom saved it, and then she showed it to me years later, and I said, "Wow, this might make a good children's book." So I wrote some more words, and I drew new pictures, and that's the No David you guys have seen. Now, I'm just guessing you can spell more than 2 words. Is that right? Yeah. So, you can probably write a book too. Don't you think? Yeah. Now, the second school of thought, the second school of thought is when I was a grown-up, the first book I wrote was a book called How Georgie Radburn Saved Baseball. Yeah, because I really like baseball. So, and people, you know, but here's the thing, I started out as the person who makes the pictures. That's called an illustrator. The person who writes the story is called the author. So I've always liked to draw my whole life. So like when I was really little, I drew things like pirates and baseball players and silly animals. And then when I got a little older, I got interested in comic books. I was a comic book fan. So then I drew lots of superheroes and supervillains. And then I got a little older and I went to art school for college when I drew lots of really important things, like fruit. And when I got out of art school, I started illustrating children's books. And you know what I was drawing? Baseball players and pirates and silly animals and all the stuff I drew when I was little. And finally, David, right? So after a while, people said, you know, we really like the way you tell stories with pictures. Why don't you try writing too? And I said, okay. And it was really fun. So that's how I started being an author too. So who here likes to draw pictures? And who here likes to write stories? And who here likes to do both? And who here has 3 arms? You never know. Okay, let's try this one. Who's got a question? Yeah, what's your question? What? Do I have a dog? Do I have a dog? Do you guys know about Fergus? You do? All right, well, I got some bad news. Fergus passed away. I know, but listen, he had a really good, it's very sad, but he had a really good life. You know what? Fergus was 19. So in dog years, I'll do the math for you. That's 133. So he was really old. And you know that I put Fergus in all my books, right? And sometimes he's really hidden, but he's in there. And oh, here's the other part. I have a new dog. Yeah, and he's the same kind of dog as Fergus. His name is Roy. He's the same kind of dog as Fergus, but he is completely different. Here's the best way to understand how their difference. Fergus thought he was a human. Roy thinks I'm a dog. Yeah. So I'm going to keep putting Fergus in all my books so you can keep looking for him, okay? But listen, don't tell Roy. He thinks it's him. Yeah. What's your question? What? Where's the body for David? David's in he's taking a milk bath right there. So, it's right up here. Right up there. It's very good for your skin. Leaves it glowing and refreshed. Yeah. What's your question? Hold it, you guys, can't hear. What? Say it again. Why did I draw the thing he was in while he was in the milk bath? The bathtub? Is that what the thing? Because it's my picture and I didn't want to. No, I'll tell you what, I'll draw his body later on, but I wanted to have time to answer questions, okay? And just so you know, his body is shaped like a lima bean. Mm-hmm. Does anybody here like lima beans? Wow, very good, and not afraid to admit it. Now, personally, If you ask me, I think lima beans taste like bugs. And don't ask me how I know what bugs taste like. All right, last question. Yeah, what's your question? He's right behind you. Look out! All right, I'll ask a question. Here's a question I usually get asked, and it's kind of a three-part question. So the first part of the question is, am I really David? And the answer to that is, kinda. So you guys know I told you about the picture, the book I made when I was a little kid, and when I made that book, I really was David. But then when I made the new one, it's based on me, but it's not exactly me. And that brings us to the second part of the question, which is, did I really do all the things that David did? And the answer to that is, I did some of the things that David did. Okay. I did a lot of the things that David did. But I didn't do all of them, okay? And that brings us to the third part of the question, where we get down to the real nitty-gritty of what kids really want to know. And that is, did I run down the street without my clothes on? All right, so like I said, I did some of the things that David did, but I didn't do all of them. Some of them are things that my brother did, or my friends did, or in the case of running down the street naked, that was my nephew. Yeah. And you know where he lived? He lived in Alaska. You know where he lives now? Florida. Yes. All right, you guys. Well, I think that's about time. I see nervous faces on teachers, so it's probably about time. So anyway, thank you so much for inviting me to your school. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Okay, see you guys.
One of our students wanted to say a few words before you go.
Thank you for coming to our school. I think you are the best author.
Oh,
You
well,
are awesome.
Thank you very much. That was great. Oh, all right.
You need photo op right there.
Yeah. It's my dad's initials.
Oh, is it?